Hello and welcome to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian,
And I'm Asian.
and we got some spicy news today. We have some spicy news in that Johnny Depp won a lawsuit against Amber Heard after that high-profile trial. We can get into that later.
Yeah, I did hear that.
I heard about these things, and in equally important news,
Yeah.
Owen Wilson got his rims and tires stolen off his Tesla.
Oh man. What?
Yeah, wow. You know what
Wow.
I mean? Equally important, if you ask me. And
Sure.
I guess you got a trailer for us later, right? So
Yeah. The menu
The menu.
just came out today, 6 hours ago. Or
Oh,
7 hours ago.
well, it'll be longer than that when we record the rest of this. But
Yeah.
yeah. Interesting. We also have Kenobi, episode 1 and 2. It's finally here. We're a little late, but it is what it is. And finally, we have the Top Gun Maverick review. So after 36 years, a little bit longer of a wait,
Yeah.
we set it up. Let's get into the news. I will pull up the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thingamabobby. Amber Heard. They've been in court for a minute, right? Trying to work
Right.
out some stuff, relationship wise.
Yeah.
And the case is finally settled. The jury has decided. Johnny Depp wins the lawsuit against Amber Heard after this high-profile trial. There was a lot of shenanigans, a lot of chicanery, if you would. I didn't follow it too closely, but I would see the memes, Amber Turd, etc., etc. Good times.
Yeah.
I could say this without knowing the full context, like in all its depth and glory. It did not look like a winning battle. Every time this woman was on screen, she was spewing some nonsense. There was like cross-examiners and like experts being like, wrong, Photoshop, this, that. Like it just did not look good.
Yeah.
Not a good look. And I guess the jury sussed that out because Depp had filed that $50 million lawsuit over that op-ed she published when she basically said she was a domestic abuse survivor. And the jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. The judge adjusted the punitive damages to $350,000 as per Virginia law. It limits all that.
Okay.
All that means is that homeboy got a fat check for just countersuing. And I was like, wow, what a messy situation.
Huh.
But the water cooler talk is over. It's done.
Yeah.
Still looking forward to memes, or you're over it? How you feel?
I haven't been paying attention to the memes. So.
You haven't seen the memes?
No, I've seen some, but like
I'll show you some.
I haven't like.
I'll show you more off the podcast. It's fine. There's some amusing ones. But everyone, a lot of the jokes are the same. So
yeah,
primarily shit on the bed. Yeah, there's other ones too, but it's primarily that. And less legal news, but still legal. Owen Wilson had his rims and tires stolen off his Tesla outside his Santa Monica home.
That sucks.
You gonna do it?
Wow.
Thank you, Big A. That's what people said he said when he found it. But yeah, it was parked right outside his crib, and he walked out to find the wheels and rims missing from his pricey whip.
Yeah.
Estimates say it'll cost maybe like $4,000 to replace everything, which of course is a drop in the bucket to these guys. But at the same time, just makes you go, wow. Looking forward to seeing him in Loki season 2.
Yeah.
Is that officially?
I hope they bring him back.
I would hope so. I think he was a favorite. I think people liked him.
Yeah.
I especially liked him calling Loki on his bullshit every turn.
It
was beautiful thing to see. No arrests have been made. I'm sure he'll figure out the new tire situation and maybe park his car in a safer spot next time. Maybe. Oh well. Should we get into the trailer?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Dude, I don't know what we're talking about.
You wanted to talk about?
I have no information on these topics.
Okay, hold on. To be fair, that's the entire article. Like there is no other information. If you want to know more, cops are checking for surveillance footage for a glimpse of suspected thief or thieves, but so far no arrests have been made. There's nothing else to it. It's just a fun headline. I mean, not for him, of course, but I'm amused. Anyway, do you want me to play it on the screen?
Yeah, sure.
You don't like it, Big A. You can bring better news. Gosh. All right.
I just don't have anything to add.
That could be what you have to add.
Yeah, I don't know.
What am I supposed to say to that? Okay, let's rewind this. Let's start the menu trailer, y'all. Horror movie, calling it murder mystery.
I'm not sure. Cult movie?
It feels like it, right? Anya Taylor-Joy from
Northman?
Northman.
That
was Anna, not Anya.
No, it's Anya.
What do you think of Big Apple? Does it have your interest, your intrigue? Are you gonna pay money to see this? Money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd see it.
You think it's worth to you?
Yeah, yeah, it looks pretty
I
cool.
don't know. I don't know if it strays more horror or like murder mystery or like you said, just kind of cult, like the occult or
Yeah,
whatever, and just murder some people here and there casually.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out what's the angle here. Like he said, you are but common people. He said that, right? He was saying like you're not meant to be here. You're a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of common Joes, a bunch of schlubs. Is he
Yeah,
insinuating that they're not worthy to eat his yummy dummy thick meal? Is that what he's
yeah,
insinuating?
maybe I don't know.
That's kind of like classist, no? Like,
Maybe that's what they're talking about.
oh, you think that
Maybe,
could be the
maybe that's
message?
the message of the
The
movie.
massage?
Yeah,
If it is, let's see how they execute it. Could be interesting.
yeah.
Could be interesting. Besides the good looking food and I guess the horror element, did anything else stand out to you? Excited to see any particular actor? You're just like, whatever, could be cool.
I don't know. It could be cool.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
It could be.
Who else was in there? Anya Taylor Joy. It was
That guy from X-Men, what's his name? I'm blanking. Um, he plays like Beast dude, Blue Beast.
oh right.
I feel bad for not knowing their name. Now I have to figure it out. Let me go back to the little okay.
Nicholas Holt.
Nicholas Holt, that sounds about right. Hong
Yeah.
Chow, Judith Light, Janet McTeer, and John Leguizamo
Ralph Fiennes from Wonder Woman. Right?
playing the general dude. Was he the old guy in this? Let's find out.
He has a cane.
Yeah, I think he's from actually Kingsman. No.
Kingsman, yeah. He's
Yeah,
in
he plays the. You're right, Ralph Fiennes as Chef
yeah.
Dobie. Anya Taylor Joy is Margaret. I don't know Margaret. He plays movie star John Leguizamo,
Leguizamo.
Leguizamo,
Leguizamo.
Linguini. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That's rude.
That is.
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, because you okay. To be fair, one, he's not Italian, so it's not weird. Two, it's a
Right.
chef movie, so I think of Ratatouille, and
Right,
wasn't his
yeah.
last name like Linguini, even though it wasn't Linguini, but that guy made fun of
Right.
him.
Yeah.
We should watch Ratatouille, not like anytime soon, but like eventually when we're bored and we want something to review.
Yeah, sure.
Ratatouille.
Okay.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And any other trailers over here on IMDb? I mean, I got Pinocchio. You want to watch that trailer?
Oh, the new one? I
Not
think
the
that
old
just
one.
came out, right?
It must have. They're just showing me right now. There's also Andor,
Sure, sure.
Boo, Thor: Love and Thunder. Saw it. I don't care about Stranger. Do you like Stranger Things, Big Apple?
Yeah, I'm on the first or the second episode of the recent season that came out.
You liking it so far?
Actually, I need to rewatch the first one. I don't remember.
Okay, let's do some Pinocchio real quick. Right here. Tom Hanks, a national treasure. Why are you showing me ads, IMDb? That's rude, bro.
An ad before we watch an ad.
Essentially, yeah. This is America.
Is this the Guillermo del Toro?
I guess we're gonna find out because I have no clue. I don't know the first thing about this production. That is not Guillermo del Toro. I do
I
like.
think that one's Netflix.
Could be. Oh, is it like the horror one or whatever?
No, I think it's still like a kid's story. But
Is this from like? Was it Dragon Tales? Wow, we're going for it. Wow, Gordon Levitt, Michael Key. Okay, I imagine voiceover for Key.
it's going straight to Disney Plus.
Straight
Is
to
that what
Disney
it said?
Plus. Disney Plus Day. It was September
Wow,
8th, I believe. How do you? Let's talk. Let's unpack that a little bit. Do you
that's weird.
feel? What's the end game there? Are they afraid to go to box office, or do they just want more people on their service?
I think they're thinking that it will keep people on the service or
Add more.
but I don't know that it would.
Right.
So
I mean, there is money to be made putting it at the box office because like no matter what your budget is, you're gonna make some of it back. I mean, minus usually it's about 50%. I think the theater keeps or whatever, but still
Mhm.
better than zero. And like just relying on subscriptions. I don't know. It's a weird move. I don't know what they're thinking over there.
Yeah,
But maybe they're just saving theater space because like maybe they don't want to compete with themselves. I guess because Disney's also Marvel. It's also Star Wars. It's also
maybe.
you know what I mean.
I don't know.
Bizarre. Let's get in the boardroom. Let's figure it out, Big A. Let's get over. Let's infiltrate.
Yeah,
We'll make it a mission.
I didn't like that we didn't get to see like
The actual Pinocchio.
well, not even Jiminy Cricket. Like we didn't get to see like a still shot of what he looks like. It's kind of like quick.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like,
Like he was always in motion or whatever.
yeah,
But he's a cricket, man. He's got to keep on hopping. You feel me?
I would have liked to see like.
But
What
you
does
want
he
like a
look
dramatic reveal? Just him
like?
like,
I
"What's
don't
up?
know something.
What's up, old man? What's his name? What's Tom? What's the old man? Old man Bertolt or something? Geppetto?
Yeah, Geppetto.
Geppetto. Oh, look. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Jiminy Cricket.
Oh,
Keegan-Michael Key is Honest John.
who's
Love it.
who's Pinocchio?
Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, otherwise known as child actor, British.
Okay.
Do you recognize this actor as Giuseppe Battisson, otherwise known as Stromboli, the big burly looking dude who looks like a train conductor or maybe like a pastry chef?
No, I don't.
Let's see what he's known for. Yeah, you don't know him. Never mind. I don't know why I brought him up.
Okay.
He's like a European actor or something. Here's yeah. The Man from Toronto. You heard about that one?
Oh yeah.
The-
Yeah,
the-
with
Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Could be worth seeing.
Netflix.
Netflix. Let's check that out while we
I
can.
don't know.
Well, hey, it doesn't cost you a thing other than your normal monthly subscription. So, The Man from Toronto. Let's just look at the trailer, man. Let's look at the ad. All right, Big Apple. Initial thoughts?
Nah.
Not for you?
I don't think
It's all right. I mean, I'm not saying it's high art, but it seems like it's something you get a little, under the influence for and just kind of turn your brain off. I feel like it's just Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart, man.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling.
But there's nothing in this instance. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Could you imagine if the roles were reversed?
I don't know. It depends on how good the chemistry is between him
And
Woody
Woody Harrelson's
Harrelson.
character, yeah, because it does seem like, but from the trailer, it takes a few turns. Like it's literally as we saw it. Guy fish out of water, work for the FBI for a bit, then he gets over his head, and then he has to work with a criminal for a bit, and then at some point it has to resolve.
Yeah. Also, the setup sounds kind of overcomplicated.
Not
overcomplicated, but like
overly convoluted or what? Just like, what are you trying to say?
Well, I don't know. It sounds ridiculous. The fact that they both have the same nickname.
Oh, I see.
And that's how they're being confused.
Yeah.
The Man from Toronto. That's not.
Seems like you'd at least have some sort of photo ID ready. Like,
I don't know.
You the guy? You the guy? You the torturer? I don't know. Listen, man, it's an excuse for Kevin Hart to be Kevin Hart and make some haha jokes and some action, some pew pews.
Still gotta be good jokes.
But I guess you have to watch and find out. I mean, you probably won't, but someone's got to watch and find out. I'll let you know.
I guess so. Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes. Anyway, I had no idea what it was. Now we know.
Yeah.
Should we get into the notes for Obi-Wan Kenobi, episode 1 through 3?
Sure.
All right, let's take a little trip back down in time. So 1 and 2, as everyone may recall, aired together, a little double premiere, right?
Yep.
Should we just get into 1? I didn't think starting off with Order 66 was relevant until I had a second watch. Because I was like, if you're not going to show Anakin or Grogu, like what's the point of this? But then I didn't realize that was supposed to be Reva at the beginning getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Like, what's so funny?
What do you mean, Grogu?
Yeah, didn't he survive? Isn't it implied?
Well,
that he survived?
I guess he's part of it, but he's. I wouldn't say that he's tied that much to this.
No,
story.
but any opportunity they can be like, hey, Mando season 3, y'all remember that? I mean, we got that.
That would be atrocious if they did.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty bad if they did that, but
that's kind of what
free marketing.
Boba Fett was.
It really was, though. It was like season 2.5, but maybe 2.75. Like it could have been that. But anyway, that's supposed to be Reva, and that makes me more interested in her character than initially I was in terms of like, whose side is she on? What's her true motivations? Because I still don't have a clear sense of that, even 3 episodes deep. I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but still.
Right.
So, like, is she an Inquisitor only for means of survival? Is she gonna help get Obi-Wan caught only to free him? Because obviously we know that he's not dead in the originals. In the future when he's old, when he's old man. Kenobi.
Right.
So, like, what exactly is the in between? Anyway, these are just thoughts permeating in my mind. They don't have to go anywhere. This is just where my head's at, man. This is where my head's at. It's a lot of possibilities. But I don't know about you, but I'm not very intimidated by the Inquisitors as they're presented. Unfortunately,
they seem mildly interesting, but I don't know. Like, they didn't really. There wasn't like a strong establishment of what they're supposed to be.
Exactly. It was just kind of like, here we are doing our thing. Like, what is your thing? Okay, you're asking questions, great. But then, like, while they're doing that, it's almost, I know they're supposed to be inquisitive or whatever, but they're talking almost too much. At least the Grand Inquisitor was. I was like, you're trying to catch us up. But
it was
less
odd
menacing.
Imbalance of like, one of them being overzealous with the amount of action they want to take, and the other just kind of articulating some sort of, I don't know,
You,
like
you
mild threat,
like you
but
mean
like,
Riva or like the other one, the
well,
other dude?
no, the main Inquisitor,
Oh, okay,
the
the
Grand
Grand
Inquisitor,
Inquisitor. Yeah.
he was like just like he had this whole dialogue about like the supposed rumor,
hmm About the Jedi that might be
yeah, and
among
that's
them.
supposed to bring it intimidation and like
Yeah.
force the Jedi out of hiding.
hmm
Whereas with Riva, she was more about,
Action or whatever.
yeah, she took it upon herself to throw the knife,
hmm Right, right, right.
force the Jedi to make a decision,
Yeah, which was
and it's
it
like,
was
well,
pretty happenstance that the Jedi happened to be in that pub at that time. Because what if the Jedi wasn't, and then
right,
you're just torching a bunch of people for giggles?
yeah,
That almost would have been crazier. Because then you would have known they meant business, and then they'd have to like milk information out of a civilian,
yeah,
and then go find the Jedi, or maybe the Jedi is like on the street and
hmm
like just passing by when it happened to happen.
but it's also like, so if the Grand Inquisitor doesn't want to go that far to like kill all these civilians, like he doesn't
hmm
want to
Yeah.
necessarily kill for no reason.
hmm
What is his intention? Like, what is he
Doing exactly.
doing to accomplish finding the Jedi that they're looking for?
And I think that's the biggest disconnect. I think you just spoke to it because I'm just like,
Yeah.
are you trying to do your job or are you trying to be menacing? Because you're kind of failing at both right now. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. At least that's the way I read it. I was like,
Yeah. Well, I think that that's what Riva was getting at with
yeah,
like,
with her impatience
yeah,
or
her
whatever.
impatience, but
Sure.
even then, like, that's not necessarily accomplishing what they want.
Right. It's just
Yeah.
lashing out, you
Yeah.
know? And I guess that does a good job of driving that she's like willing to do anything for her goals because like the show is trying really hard to make you intimidated by her. And I believe she's brash and she goes against orders to get what she wants and all of that. Like
Right.
trying to prove herself literally. Like
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
later down the line we get that. But I still don't have have yet to see the justification behind that drive. You know, we're in the day and age where like we want a little more than just one dimensional like villain, so to speak. Like I need to see
Hmm.
where she's coming from or what she really wants. So that's keeping me somewhat intrigued, but it's kind of wearing thin, especially by by the end of 3. They kind of
Yeah.
give you a motivation. We'll get to it, but it's just kind of like
Yeah.
you want to be Grandmaster. Okay, cool. Like I'm sure we all do. You know what I mean? Like, or Grand
Right.
Inquisitor.
Right.
Sorry. So yeah, I don't know. 12 minutes in, I checked, and we finally see Obi-Wan making ends meet, like feeding his camel thing, struggling not to be a Jedi when he sees injustices, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all that. I'm like, cool. Finally, we got him here. The Jawa interactions were great. I appreciated the little banter between the little scavenger slash
Yeah. That was
thief.
funny.
It was a cute little moment.
Yeah.
The Uncle Owen interaction was especially nice. I liked him like kind of shoving his shit in his face to Obi-Wan a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, I was just amused by it. There's a lot of good memes that came from it. You think Nari, that Jedi that was in hiding, did we see
All
exactly
right.
what happened to him? Because I feel like after
Yeah.
Obi-Wan,
He was hung.
yeah, so
He
he's for
was the
sure
Jedi
dead.
hung. But I find it kind of funny that they hung him. I mean, mildly funny that they hung him by his shoulders, and like they had like a whole girdle. Just because they got to keep it PG-13.
Is that what it
Like,
was? You think they're trying to like not
more
be
than
too
like,
graphic with the?
yeah, yeah.
That's kind of goofy.
It was kind of
You're better off just like showing a slice and then cutting
yeah,
off screen with the head decapitating or whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
It's kind of goofy. Rip Nari though, for sure dead now. Leia was a pleasant surprise, and I really liked her portrayal. I know
Hmm.
some people might not have. I,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
She was funny.
I think the chase scene was a little goofy, but it was endearing. I got it. I get
No,
it.
it was cool seeing that she was like, even at a young age, she was still pretty capable.
And like with it, and really
Yeah,
intelligent too. I
yeah, yeah,
appreciated that. So in that call. So all Leia works for me through and through. I like her a lot as young Leia. Um, that's the last thing is like after she gets caught, and like it's literally Obi-Wan's call to action with her parents hitting
yep,
them up, and like, yo, we need you to get her.
yeah.
You're our only hope. Not really. They didn't say that, but there's parallels. Anyway,
I mean, pretty much, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and so Obi-Wan has no choice but to go dig his little saber out of the desert, and
Right.
get to work. So that's episode 1. Should we get into 2? Because there's not much to say other than here's Obi-Wan and here's what he has to
Yeah.
do.
I mean, it definitely is like a slow burn.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
I don't know. There's a lot of teasing, obviously. The
mhm,
whole show is just one big tease. Like we have it and we're still being teased. We'll get into that.
yeah.
But even episode 3, I'm just like, why are we waiting for the finale here? So episode 2, Obi-Wan arrives and starts the hunt for Leia on this seedy looking planet. I don't even remember the name, but that's where
Uh-huh.
she's at. We see that retired clone trooper. Do you remember the name? I don't.
Of the
I guess of the actor that plays the clone trooper.
oh,
Because I recall reading a headline saying that was the first time that actor was ever in any clone trooper armor or something like that. like for real, like
Oh
physically.
right, because they did. I think they had like one maybe,
Oh, they did.
and then they CGI'd the rest
Oh,
or
okay,
something.
gotcha,
Like they
gotcha.
used him as reference. Tamora Morrison,
Oh, okay, that's the original
actor. Yeah,
actor.
he played the veteran clone trooper.
Gotcha, gotcha. Very cool. Very swagalicious.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Nice, you got that down. Kumail Nanjiani. Nice.
Yeah,
It's got a nice ring to it. Anyway, he's here playing Haja Estri, little seedy
yeah,
underworld
yeah.
type, posing as a Jedi to make a buck off of those who need safe passage. And Obi-Wan, of course, sees through this deception and gets the info he needs to free Leia.
Mm-hmm.
Kenobi was also really wise to use that spice to get his captors high and like just
Yeah, he
mess them
did.
up. Like I was like, I appreciate seeing those little quick little, I don't know what you'd call it, just smart, slick, like detective-y kind of moments.
Right.
Just trying to figure out how to get the mission done creatively. I
Yeah,
appreciated
yeah.
that. Leia and Kenobi finally unite in an uneasy partnership, and Leia questions Kenobi every step of the way until he has
Mhm.
to dramatically prove that he finally is a freaking Jedi when he uses the Force to save her. I appreciated their little interactions at the very beginning, and her being super sus of him, like, how do I know I can trust you? Asking too many
Mhm.
questions. The Jedi are all gone, right? Like all that stuff.
Right.
So all of the interaction really works for me, and it's nice seeing them two paired up when all we know really is like Obi-Wan and Luke, from the original trilogy. So
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was a cool little contrast. Um, any thoughts on that so far? But keep it moving.
No, yeah, I think it was cool seeing her interact at such a young age
Mhm.
with Obi-Wan, not having seen that side of things before.
He's also kind of short with her, is he not? Like, especially when she asks about the world, and the world's a shitty place.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Yeah, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is I liked that he's at that point in his character arc, if you would, where he's like kind of at his lowest, and he's been out of it. He's jaded. He
Mhm.
even I goes so far as to say in one of these episodes, like, we lost, like that's it. There's nothing else to do, and like you could tell he carries all that guilt with him. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice seeing her, I guess her hopeful youth trying to like contrast against that and like be like, no, it's not
Mhm.
all bad. There's solutions, right? People want to help, right? And he's like, no, people suck. I love
Yeah.
that. It was great. Getting into later in the episode, Haja, of course, turns out to be a good guy, and he's like, people want to help you, and I help people get, places. I just do it in an underhanded way or whatever. And so he,
Yeah.
ends up having more than one dimension, so that's cool. He also distracts Rava, which proves to be like a nice heroic moment, but then not really, because she can just read his mind in the Force,
Mhm.
and like it just leads her directly to them. Seeing Rava almost cornering Kenobi was like mildly exciting. I thought like it's more of a tease at the end of the day, but I thought they were actually he was gonna whip out the saber. They kept saving it for Vader. He did
Yeah,
not
yeah.
light that thing until episode 3. So like I thought they were gonna have like a quick fight or something, or some sort of scuffle or skirmish. And
Yeah.
and then the Grand Inquisitor shows up. Bro, how'd you feel about that? I was like, what
I thought it
dude,
was weird how quick his death was.
thank you.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Like just the show's just like she's a badass. Boom, killed someone. But like where's the justification? Like is that how you get
Yeah.
your promotions? You just murder people ahead of you? And is he even actually dead after this whole Darth Maul nonsense?
I mean, he could still be
I'm gonna
alive, I
patch
guess,
him
but
up,
then
right?
still, like, then you're taking away from the fact that she just killed him.
Well, she stabbed him. We didn't see
Yeah.
him die necessarily.
Right, right. But like that whole,
The whole gesture,
or
or
what that would mean
right?
for her.
I don't know. And
So
he was just talking too much. He's like, "Oh,
yeah, it's
let me
weird.
handle it," and then she just straight up stabs him. I'm just like, "What are we doing here? Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kenobi barely gets away, but not before Rava. Sorry, almost
Reva?
Riva,
Reva?
Riva,
I think.
Riva. I don't know how to type Rava here. I'm dyslexic. Um, no, but not before Riva drops that bombshell that Anakin Skywalker's still alive. And, like
Right, yeah.
Vader's looking for him. Which, first of all, he hasn't heard anything about who Vader really is in like the 10 years it's been since that. Like not through underground tunnels, nothing like that. And how does
Mhm.
she know Vader's true identity? Like how are they that close? You know what I mean? Like does everyone in the Empire know
Maybe,
Vader's
yeah.
true identity? I thought it was only like upper echelon, like top brass knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You think that's something they're saving for like the next few
I
episodes?
feel like there's perhaps and especially since Hayden Christensen's back and
Right,
they,
right.
they teased him, showing up in the flesh.
Mhm.
Probably what I'm guessing is we're gonna get a flashback to maybe like him seeing something in her and maybe sparing her during Order 66, and maybe that's why they have some sort of
Mm.
connection. And if it's not that, then what else could it be?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm speculating here, but like I think there has to be something deeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
She's too
definitely.
driven and she's too personally like at Anakin's right hand to not have some sort of history. So we'll see. The PTSD really sold it all over Kenobi's face, all the trauma of all the prequels and that whole bombshell dropping. So that was a great moment acting wise. And overall, these 2 episodes were okay. Nostalgia was nice. They get away in a little ship and whatever. He's all shook. Leia's like, "You good?" He's like, "He's not good."
Yeah.
And I was really excited to see what's next. And then we get to episode 3, Big A. What are your thoughts? Talk to me.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. We finally get to see Vader
Yeah.
and Kenobi standoff, and it's just kind of meh. I mean, not everything.
Yeah.
Granted, Vader showing up and like everyone just going quiet, and him just like torturing and like just messing and like just pure evil all over the streets, snapping necks with the Force, choking people,
Yeah.
literally dragging Kenobi out, I guess with the Force. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he's forced to send that person who helps. I don't even know it's like a Empire general, a former Empire general, that woman
Mm-hmm.
who is no longer like doesn't agree with the Empire's ways, and she's agreeing to help Leia escape with Kenobi.
Right. Yeah.
I forgot her character's
Did they
name.
give her a name? I don't know.
I'm sure
if they
she has a
said it.
name. I just don't remember. But it was my point of bringing her up was that you can find that real quick. Is that it's nice to see that not everyone in the Empire thinks the same way, and like people joined up when they thought it was one thing and they realized it was another. It just shows that it's not like an entirely a monolith of people. Like it's different people joining for different reasons.
Right. Like we saw that mole.
Yeah, and where he was coming from.
Yeah, and he was
just wants some order and peace, and he's just like an older soul who just doesn't want all the riffraff.
Is it Tala?
Oh, you're right. That's Tala.
Oh, okay.
I was tripping. Cool. You're right. Yeah, I guess we should backtrack a little bit before we get into Vader. Let me give some order to this. Excuse me. Episode 3 for me.
Yeah.
It was a mixed bag for me, right? On one hand, it's nice to see good character interactions between Obi-Wan and Leia, especially regarding like her mother later, because they're lost on this planet. They're looking for the next connection. They're looking for the next way out, right?
Yeah.
And on the way to meet that, they're lost. They get picked up by Mr. Mole guy who just wants order and peace or whatever. And then they have that whole thing where like they have to stop, and some stormtroopers come in and they're kind of pestering them. Who are you? What do you want? And all this. So like they have to make up some BS story. Again, we see Leia's quick thinking. Another good moment. I like how intelligent she is. And then of course they have that touching moment where Obi-Wan was a little too about knowing her mother or whatever, losing her mother. Oof. Are you my daddy? I wish I could say I was. I was like, are you her daddy? It's a wacky fan theory. I know it's not true, but it would be interesting. So anyway, like you said, they get to the little checkpoint. Obi-Wan again has to whip out the blasters and figure everything out, and that's when we meet the Empire general who actually turns on some stormtroopers and is actually willing to help them out. I guess that is the connection. And she said she was on the way. Tala said she was on the way to get them from the field and was held up or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
I guess so.
Something like that. So they finally get to safety, and then they get to her hideout and meet that little mover droid, and they're about to escape out the escape tunnel when boom, Vader shows up. The tension's there. You can hear a pin drop. He's wrecking people, twisting necks, force choking people, trying to pull out Kenobi. You can still see the terror in his face. This is the first time seeing him in the flesh, like in fully suited up as Vader.
Yeah.
It was all a very nice moment. I was like, this is intense. Like, this is cool. I'm glad we see him there. And then
James Earl Jones is back.
Yep. I read an article before we watched this saying that he's not confirmed. I'm like, bro, that just means he's back. Like if it's not a no, it's a yes, straight up. I already it's a no and they're just lying. But how do you not get him back? He's alive and well. Last I checked. So
yeah.
Also, did you like how they made the voice sound more like the 80s? Like they did some good processing. From what I can remember, it wasn't kind of like I don't remember how good it was in Rogue One.
I don't know how different it could have sounded. But,
well, I don't know. He's an old man now. He wasn't what he was back in the Disney. You feel me?
Yeah.
Maybe they took out some lower end. Maybe it's just super deep right now. I don't know. But
I don't know.
They did it right. It sounds good. It sounds just like it was back in the day. My nostalgia lens is perfect right now. But yeah, it was kind of rough once he finally got out there. When Ben got out there to draw out Vader and fight him, like the suspense and horror was kind of there here and there, and then it was kind of like, man, he's just losing it. Like his PTSD winning him over, or he was just super flustered. Like Ben was just was rough, dude. He was just getting like Vader was one handing like saber fighting him. It was
it kind of looked a little awkward.
It was right. I don't know if it was the choreography or maybe
because I mean he was barely like using his
anything
left arm.
Dude, freaking Ben was on the floor half the fight, just like kind of skirtling away and running away.
He was like swatting.
I mean, he's out of it. Like, listen, from a story point of view, I get it. He's been out of the game 10 years. He hasn't been training. He's all shook. He's in hiding.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of history. I get all that, but just how it was visually represented, I was like, what is this? Was like, it was slow. It was kind of awkward at times. Then when it got really good is when he cornered him and he like bust down all those like natural resources that were flammable. Vader just like, psh, and he's like, I'm gonna make you feel what I felt. That was crazy. I was like, okay, that's a good moment. And of course, Kenobi just getting burnt to a crisp. somewhat. I don't know. We don't see those burns in the original trilogies. Maybe he gets a back to tank pretty soon or something.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
but that was a great moment. And then he kind of just like lets him go. I know like Tala helps him out,
Mm-hmm.
but like I know they had to do that for the story's sake. But I was like, that's just kind of a weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
It's just a weird resolution to that whole
yeah,
conflict. Like I don't know. I feel like there should have been a stronger force coming between them than just water. I mean, not water, fire.
fire.
And also,
Yeah.
wouldn't like Anakin be more like triggered by fire and flames, or he's like just using it to feed him?
Oh, like it's part of his PTSD.
Yeah, like wouldn't that
I don't know,
like,
maybe.
like not even like a step back or nothing? Just kind of like yeah, flame. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
I figured it could have been a nice moment to show something other than just
Right.
evil, but it was
I
still
wonder if
nice.
they're gonna delve into like, I mean, they kind of have, but they haven't like made it like a huge point as to why Obi-Wan is so or aligned with the Force.
Well, I think he described it. How did you like that description? When she was like, "What's the force like? Like, how does it feel?" And he
Yeah,
was
it
like,
feels like when the light is on, warm,
"Yeah, like
comforting.
warmth and just all around you or whatever."
Yeah, yeah.
If it's like that ever present, it's like you said, how does he feel like so out of it or so not connected? Like, do you have to meditate
Mm-hmm.
regularly to maintain your strength, like your chakra levels, so to speak? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is it really a mental block? Is like he's so like triggered and like just so guilt ridden by
Mm-hmm.
what happened to Anakin, how he failed him that I don't know, he just doesn't feel like facing that or moving forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he also, for 2 episodes in a row now, I feel like calls on his master. So, and we were talking about it, watching it. Do you
Yeah.
think Qui-Gon's gonna come back and sort of Force Ghost, or maybe show him how
There's
to?
rumors that he could that Liam Neeson's coming back,
I mean, as long as it
or
serves it, you know
yeah.
what I mean. I think it. I mean, he's called him out so many times. I feel like at least, at the very least, the voice, if not like actual
Mm-hmm.
physical, Force Ghost or something. But he needs to get his mojo back. Like this is like the mid-season finale, if you would, and he is just not winning. Ben is just like not with it.
Yeah.
So he needs to get his meditation on. He needs to like regroup, maybe do some training. I don't know,
Okay.
something,
Think
man.
we're gonna see a Rocky style workout?
At this point,
Workout
we're gonna have to, bro.
montage.
We're gonna need to see that montage because it is rough out in the streets, man. I don't know. It's not looking good. We're halfway through the series, and I don't know. I still feel somewhat underwhelmed. Like I really hope the last three are better. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's a pacing thing
I feel like
or a
it
writing thing,
seems a bit like a pacing thing.
right?
Also, I think the writing's not great
It really isn't.
when it comes to Riva.
Especially that. I have some notes about that, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, what do you know?
Well, just
Yeah.
like the side plot as a whole with the Inquisitors, it seems mid. Like just really mid. Like
Mhm.
they don't seem menacing enough. I haven't had I have on the surface, like we were talking about earlier,
Yeah,
Reva's
yeah.
motivation is that she wants to be Grand Inquisitor, da 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 da. Whatever. Sure. That could mean anything. Like that could just be a straight up lie. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe she just wants more power. But like I still think there's some sort of personal through line that we're not seeing that hasn't been alluded to just yet,
Mhm.
like, other than the opening scene. And I don't fully buy her as just pure evil. Like I just feel like it's an act, and it's just a means to an end. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it just seems like she's trying too hard to be,
Way too hard.
yeah,
And I
to
just
be like
I
evil
don't
or
buy
whatever.
it. I don't. And the Inquisitors thing is like this maybe could have been their own show, or just if you're gonna write it into this one, make it better. It just seems like a really weak B plot, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't like it. And and like they could have just focused way up on the Kenobi stuff. And if you wanted to make more side missions or meet other people, that could have been a thing too. People to
Yeah.
help him find his way when he's down or something. Kind of like what I think they were going for with Haja, I believe was his name, the little seedy
Right.
fake Jedi, sort of something like that. But limited episodes. You can't have someone tag along the whole show and all that. But I don't know. I'm kind of underwhelmed, and I don't like what they're doing exactly 100%.
Mm.
So I think they need to pick it up big time. It's no bueno.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I tripping?
No, I
Am I
think you're
tripping?
pretty accurate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of waited a long time for
Although
this.
I
Big A.
enjoy the writing when it comes to like Leia and
And Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. That's the strongest
Yeah.
part. Like that's literally the highlight of the show right now, at least.
Mhm.
Because whenever they interact, it's just great. It's like, okay, I believe they would say that. I believe they would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's mild moments where I'm like, haha, that's cool. Like the stormtrooper falling down and getting cut in half on the gate. I
Yeah,
was like,
that was
ha,
cool.
nice. But then other than that, I'm just like, Inquisitors come on screen. I'm like,
Yeah.
we go to the next scene now. I just don't care. I don't know. They haven't made me care, and I'm not intimidated by them. I'm just like,
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yep.
We have a sequel to Top Gun. So without further ado, should we get into that review?
Yeah.
Let's get right into it, Big Apple. Quick overview. So Top Gun Maverick, directed by Joseph Kosinski. It's a sequel, obviously, to the 1986 film by the same name. Stars Tom Cruise as Captain Pete Maverick, quote unquote, Mitchell, reprising his role from the original alongside Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Glenn Powell, Lewis Pullman, Ed Harris, and Val Kilmer, who also reprises his role from the original installment. Set 36 years after its predecessor, it follows Maverick's return to the United States Navy Strike Fighter Tactics Instructor. Oh my God, that's such a long name. Instructor program, also known as Top Gun.
Right.
A little more succinct. Where he must confront his past as he trains a group of younger fighter pilots, among them the son of Maverick's deceased, spoiler, best friend Goose, as per the Wikipedia page. There's your overview, people. My initial thoughts, quickly. I heard good things leading up to this, and based on the trailers and Cruise's recent action movie track record, I had a great feeling about this movie. I was like, it's probably not going to be like stellar, but I'm sure it's going to be entertaining at the very least, and like decently put together and all of that. You know, and keep in mind, like, when I was looking forward to this, Cruise likes going big, and like he's a bit of a perfectionist at this point, and he likes putting on much of like as many practical like stunt and action set pieces like is as much of that as he can do in camera, he will do, right?
Right.
Like with the Dubai stunt, you know, like with the revival of Mission Impossibles and that weird water dam nuclear stunt, all of that, he like really did all of that.
Being on the side of a plane.
Yeah, on the side of a plane with the weird giant glass like eye contact lenses, so he didn't dry his eyes out, like all of that. Like insurance companies hate this man, you feel me? So yeah, exactly. So I knew we'd be in for a treat, like visually, like he would do as much as like people would allow him to do, you know, within the confines of the law and all that. And sure enough, I mean, right out of the gate, he delivers. We are met with Maverick having to beat a clock on that special, like, what would you call it, like special like secret fighter pilot testing.
I don't know. It was almost like a spaceship.
Yeah, that's what you called it, right?
Yeah.
I thought it looked badass.
Yeah, I know. It looked cool.
And did you know they made that specifically for the movie? Which it makes sense. Like, why would you show real tech?
Yeah,
like
no way that's real anyways.
Well, anyways.
I don't think.
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure it's possible. Like, if, you know, but they wouldn't tell you about it if it was. That's my point.
Yeah,
that's my
true,
point.
That's true.
They wouldn't tell you about it. It looked badass, though.
Yeah.
I was like, this is some weird, like, stealth bomber / I don't know, SR-71 combo. It was cool. And what I didn't know when I had to look into this was that they actually got people from like Lockheed Martin, like those engineers, to actually design it, and it's actually a 1-to-1 replica. Like it's basically like a functioning plane they made for the movie. Now, can it actually do 10 Gs or whatever? I doubt it, or maybe it can. I don't know. It seems like a lot of money to sink into just a film.
Yeah,
but at the very least, it flies.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like that was a real like ship they constructed for this movie. I was like,
wow.
It's like, I'm sure obviously they don't own it. That's a lot of money to sink into something.
Yeah, no,
for a prop.
that's probably going back.
That's probably going right straight back to the Lockheed Martin and probably the government. But that was super cool. I mean, seeing it in IMAX was crazy. I mean, that initial scene sucked me right in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I know how you felt about the original because we watched it to get ready for this one.
Right.
But, I mean, how did that set the tone for you? Like, how did you feel coming into it there? You know what I mean?
It felt a little heavy-handed in terms of like promoting the awesomeness that is Tom Cruise. But overall, like it makes sense because it sets the stage for what to expect later down the line.
That's true.
Yeah, and so in that way it worked.
I sense
it was a great action piece. And it like built up really well.
It informed his character too, with the whole like pushing the boundaries. Like they even had an explicit line from one of his I don't know if it was his, I don't know, commanders or someone he worked with in the armed forces. He was like, dude, we just need 10.1 or 10, like we just need 10, right? That's the little benchmark we have to hit to keep this program alive, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't need 10.1 or 10.2. And of course, he's like, a little more.
Yeah, he went over.
And he fucks it all up. This dude has wrecked more fucking ships than anyone else, I would assume, in the armed forces that's still alive and still flying. Like in this universe, right? I'm like, how is this guy
he
still
did that
employed?
at the beginning of the first one, right?
Exactly. Yeah. He ended up wrecking one of them. And then, of course, the whole incident with Goose, like that jet's gone too, right? So, I mean, like just a whole bunch of stunts and shenanigans, a bunch of chicanery. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, who was keeping this guy? And then we learn, which I do like how the movie attempts to answer a lot of the BS that it brings up. Like, how is he still employed? How is he still where he's at and getting away with all this? It's just because Iceman, you know, was one-time rival back in the day, now like lifelong friend.
Yeah.
Who's now like the U.S. like Navy fleet commander. Yeah, U.S. Pacific fleet commander or whatever. Is like really high up. He ran his way up, and he's like his guardian angel, if you would, you know, keeping him afloat.
Right.
BS. So should we get into likes, Big Apple? What did you like? Talk to me, man.
Well, obviously the action was a lot better handled
Mm.
Like you were able to follow it a lot clearer. Obviously, like modern day technology and all that, it played a hand in that. But
I would argue on your point that it
yeah,
is a tighter script in terms of like
hmm
let's focus on the action and let's make it make sense. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's all the
There
action.
was more purpose to the action as well.
Exactly. They set up pretty early on the mission, right? The whole thing is
hmm
the mission. What are we supposed to do? What are we carrying out? Why are we training these
Right.
cadets? Why
Yeah,
is he
yeah.
in
And the
this?
mission is the driving force of the overall story as well.
Exactly, exactly. And so
Yeah.
it felt more concise and like pointed in that way. So I
hmm
appreciated that. Um, it was I like seeing what most of the main players were up to in modern day. That was pretty satisfying. Like they even worked in Iceman, Val Kilmer.
Uh huh.
Like we said, being commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, and as well as his real life vocal condition. I didn't know that. I thought it was like a choice they
Oh, it
made for the
was real
movie.
life.
So
I
he
figured that
actually,
might have been some.
yeah, it
I
was
wasn't
so
sure.
specific and natural that I was like, why would they go
hmm
out of their way to fake that specific condition when it could have been anything?
Yeah.
So it turns out he really did have a bout. Val Kilmer did have a bout with throat cancer, and he beat it.
Okay.
And according to recent interviews, he physically feels fine. Like I guess he's recovered physically in terms of like no more cancer for the moment,
Uh huh.
but he still has the lasting vocal cord damage, and it does sound like harsh and forced because damage was done to his throat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So it's good to know that he's in good spirits and still with us, and
Yeah,
he's
that's
doing
good.
other stuff too. He recently was in a movie with his daughter,
Mm.
and I don't know exactly what it's about, but I saw like a brief trailer, and I was like, okay, cool, still putting stuff out, and it brings awareness to that and the
hmm
difficulties of coming up with that. So I was like, interesting,
Hmm.
interesting, but nice to hear that he's doing it right. I enjoyed the paying homage to the original, especially at the beginning. I was like, okay, they're hitting a lot of the beats that the original had.
Yeah.
But and
Quite a few.
it mostly worked, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I know you had some issue with it. We can get into it. Are you ready to get into it?
No, I mean it's not like a strong issue, but like
But I was
yeah.
I was worried about how much they would lean on that, and how much it would
Right.
change. And
Yeah.
and sure enough, like we talked about last night, it does become a different movie about halfway through. Like they kind
A
of
bit,
acknowledge
yeah.
the past, and they're like, okay, that's done for. Here's what's happening now, and I
hmm
appreciated that because it was familiar but different, but in the right ways. Like they did just enough fan service ish while still keeping it new and refreshing and like just exhilarating the whole way through. We've talked about it. I'll beat the action scenes of that. They were amazing, especially in IMAX.
yeah.
They were so
Yeah, yeah. They
satisfying.
were all very cool.
Very cool. And we'll get into the technology of that later. Another thing I liked, and I'm sure you might have appreciated this, it was the comedy in this movie was surprisingly like well like used and kind of like sprinkled throughout just right. Like it wasn't like some people's criticisms with like Marvel movies where it's just like a joke every 5 seconds. Because this
Right,
primarily is an
yeah.
action drama. Like that's what it is.
hmm
But it's not afraid to have like a funny moment of levity here and there. And I think it serves the story really well. One of my favorite scenes is
hmm
when they're in the forest and Miles Teller came back from saving Tom Cruise from like an attack chopper that was going to kill him after he was
Oh
already
right, right,
he already
right.
crashed into the little snowy tundra or whatever. He's like, "Why are you here? What the hell are you doing here?" And he was like, "I came to save you." He was like, "What were you thinking?" He was like, "I didn't think." Like he told
Yeah,
him, he kept hammering that the whole movie. Tom Cruise was hammering
don't think.
to Rooster, "Don't think, just
Trust
because."
your
Yeah,
instincts.
exactly. Trust your
Yeah.
instincts. Be a pilot and don't worry about things like that.
Yeah.
So that was a great moment for me.
yeah, that was
I was
really
like,
good.
"What the hell?" There's a few moments like that in the movie. Like even the stuff that kind of gets into my dislikes, like the whole romance subplot, which
Uh-huh.
was kind of like, I mean, we could do it
It was a
without.
bit awkward.
It was at
Yeah.
times because I was just like, it almost like wasn't committed to enough. Like the will they won't they was kind of like,
hmm
aren't you a little old to be playing that? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
as a
it
couple.
felt like played out like something that would be in the 80s.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the whole paying homage thing too. It's like
Right,
because
right.
remember how there was a romance thing back in the '80s, and like now we're doing that, but it's not as like it's not as much. And I appreciated that. I
Yeah.
appreciated that it wasn't so much, and it still served to show like a little bit of his personal life, like with the boating thing and how the whole joke
hmm
again. I'm in the Navy, but I don't know how to like work a boat or
right.
like okay, that was
Yeah.
fun. That was fun.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool.
So stuff like that, that was also nice. But I was just kind of like, interesting. Going back to the balance of action to exposition was great. I really liked how they cut between training the Top Gun cadets, like for the timing and like the G's and all that they have to do, or
hmm
just even working with like your wingman and stuff and like the beginning training, like kind of like how we saw in the original Top Gun, and how
Yeah.
we cut back to the classroom just effortlessly, like, what did you do wrong? I did this wrong. I did that wrong. Okay, why did you do this? Like people taking responsibility for all that. Like
hmm
it was a really effective way of like not showing us a 30-minute scene of them flying and then like a 30-minute scene of them
Right.
talking about what happened while they were flying
Yeah, it was very much more concise.
and efficient. I really
hmm
appreciated that. They weren't like wasting your time with it. Like they were moving it, they're moving it,
hmm
we're moving the story. So like they learned a lot from it. I could tell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna briefly beat you over the head with that third act. About that third act, I just appreciated
Yeah.
how they kept raising the stakes. I mean, they finally somehow
hmm
got through that last mission, right? after Maverick pulls a Maverick and when he's finally dismissed by John Hamm's character, he like has to show that the course is possible. He steals like a multi-million-dollar jet.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, again.
He shows it's possible. He ends up flying with them, which of course it's Tom Cruise. He's gonna fly the last mission somehow. And but they do it, and I appreciate it how like after they complete the mission, they're still not out of the woods yet. Some shit goes sideways, they have to figure it out. Some other shit goes sideways, they have to figure it out. Like even like they're trying to get back to the fucking boat, and they're still getting like attacked by the 5th generation fighter pilots, and it's kind of like a Dominic Toretto moment. It's like it's not the it's not the jet, it's the pilot. I'm just like what the fuck. I live my life a 250,000 miles at a time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just kind of got the energy by the end there, but I really liked it. I mean, like. I know you had some problems with it. Do you want to speak to those real quick? Like, 'cause, you had some good points. I'm not gonna lie. Like at the beginning, you even told me in the theater, you're like,
it was a very predictable movie.
Yeah, I can't lie.
All the plot points you could kind of tell.
Well, I agree with that. It didn't stop me from being entertained.
And I mean, it was definitely entertaining. I feel like it kind of rode on the nostalgia a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Do a little too much? Yeah.
At least at times, I felt like there were just things like I couldn't quite get into.
Sure. I think one of your complaints that I agree with, we'll start with that one. The leaning into the nostalgia, especially how like it's been 36 years since the last one came out. I feel like they kind of had to go out of the way a little bit more to remind people what happened and remind you of the emotional gravity of what's going on.
Right.
Whereas people like me and you, we just saw it. Like,
yeah.
I feel like we might have thought differently if we hadn't seen the first one.
Yeah.
You might have been like, oh, I needed that context.
They did do a good job of incorporating some necessary scenes from the original. To kind of fill in those gaps for
general audience,
the general audience that didn't quite see the first one.
Right, and I think that's where it's a strength and a weakness of doing a sequel because you have all that baggage that people need to know if they don't remember or if they don't know.
Right.
Whereas people like me and you are like, can we get to the fun stuff? Like we know what happened.
Yeah.
But some people need to know, so it's a double-edged sword. Finally, another point you made is that you wish we had more time with Miles Teller's character, and I agree. After thinking about that some more, I really do agree.
Definitely.
If we had one more scene or just another interaction that wasn't just kind of hinted at, they really saved a lot of the emotional baggage and them like reconciling for the very end during the most high stakes part of the mission. But it would have been nice, other than some tongue-in-cheek like looks and like feelings, like if they had some sort of, even if it was a flashback, just something to give us more of a tether between those two.
Like maybe him as a teenager or
something, right? Or like why did he decide to go that route? Just besides the fact that his dad did it and like gave his life doing that, you know what I mean? Like besides that, like we gotta have a stronger reason. I appreciated the writers giving more friction to the relationship than just that his dad died while being his wingman or whatever during the accident. Tom Maverick actually pulled his papers and like basically delayed him 4 years in the armed services, right? So like that, he had to fight for that too. That's another thing that I appreciated them doing to give more friction to those two characters. But it would have been nice maybe seeing that or the fallout from that more like back then, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. They had to do a lot.
I like the explanation of like why Maverick would do that. Like he had to figure out a way of being like the father that Goose was supposed to be to him.
And another thing too is he also feels that guilt also fuels his choices in the conference room too with his higher ups. I forget John Hamm's exact position, but he's obviously answering to him because he's only a captain. And he's like, you know, we need to do this. We have 3 weeks. We got to get this mission done, this and that. He's like, they got to do this. They got to hit their target. And then Maverick goes out of the way to say, and come home, right? Like that's the most important thing. Like that was a nice beat. And I was like, like he's learned. Like he's like, that guilt, you know, informs his actions. And he's trying to train them to survive this. Even going so far in the third act as to sacrificing himself to not let Brewster die. Right. And I was like, and wow. Like I was like,
Brewster does the same thing.
Yeah. And then he does the same thing. It's a whole circle joke of saving each other. But still, it's the gesture that's nice. And like I like those character moments, even if they were sparing. You know what I mean? Sparingly used. So I want to get into more, but I feel like you have to go. Yeah. Should we save the trivia for later?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. We'll pick this up. Ready for some fun facts about Top Gun Maverick, Big Apple?
Yeah. Hit me with
Let's hit you with them. Okay. So I don't know if I mentioned this. The Dark Star ship. That's what it was called.
Dark Star?
On some Star Wars ship. That ship we saw in the beginning, the experimental one?
Yeah.
I told you that that was developed by Lockheed Martin in conjunction with the filmmakers, right? Okay, cool. And then it was a 1-to-1 replica made for Chewie. Did I tell you that at the beginning, when the Dark Star took off, there was only one take, and that take actually literally destroyed the set, like that roof being ripped off? That really happened. Wow. Like that was all practical. Like that really happened in camera. So
man,
that's a powerful ship, and it was very close to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool little tidbit. Thought I'd share it. Did I mention that the actors worked with real Top Gun fighter pilots, and they were the
Oh,
ones
okay.
actually flying the jets. They were
Mm.
many times positioned behind them, like as the wingman, if you would,
Right, right.
or whatever. They would be doing the actual flying, and the actors had to mimic them perfectly and all that.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
fun to know. On that note, without proper preparation, G forces exerted on the body by acceleration can result in illness and a dangerous loss of consciousness, like we saw in the film when they push the limits
Mm-hmm.
in the final act. So to combat that, Tom Cruise personally designed a rigorous month-long program to introduce his co-stars to different jets and kind of like build them up from like a smaller little Cessna, I believe, all the way up to like an F-18 or whatever they were flying in the movie.
Oh wow.
So he had them get him ready to go, and the more
Nice.
intense part that they do in actual training
Yeah.
is he put them in like some pools and like was like doing like simulated drownings and like how to evacuate, like how to vacate a ship or some sort of vessel when you're completely underwater and you're
Okay,
disoriented and all
right.
that. So he put them through all that. That was fun.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, so I was like, man, they kind of went through it. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
So all the cast did that. And they had to fill out daily forms for crews to review until they're ready for the real Navy pilots to pick them up and fit them in between real training. So like it was very clockwork. Like they had to be ready to go. That was cool.
Wow.
And what was also neat was the technology they used. The 6 IMAX quality cameras that they fit into the jet. You're just fake, man. You're fucking gone, aren't you? What was also cool was that Cruise actually really waited for the technology to be ready to shoot this film. Like, so, because you remember in Mission Impossible, the one with Henry Cavill, whatever that one was, when they're flying.
Cavill. That was the last one, right?
I think it was the last one. Was it 6, I believe? 7?
I want to say 7.
I want to say 6. I'm going to put my money on 6. We'll figure it out later.
Okay.
Oh, anyway, regardless, they had the little special fancy IMAX cameras they were mounting on the side of helicopters and this and this and that. Well, they had to figure out a way to fit 6 in the cockpit of these F-18s, or otherwise Cruise didn't want to do it. He wanted to see all the angles.
Wow.
Wanted all that good yummy.
That's crazy.
And they actually had some mounted, obviously, on the outside of the plane, and they also had like a Cine Jet too that follows them with a bunch of cameras. It was tight, good stuff. So I was like, cool. I'm glad that he's always pushing for the latest and greatest in entertainment. That's about it for fun facts. I'm sure there's more, but that's all I felt like looking up. So
sweet.
And sharing.
That was a lot.
Yeah, more than you would think, but it was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah, plenty.
Too much, you would say?
No,
not enough, I would say. I'm a nerd. Anyway, any last thoughts on Top Gun Maverick?
No.
You're done with it? Canceled.
It was fun, but yeah.
Yeah, you just didn't appreciate it again. You just didn't see the vision.
It's not for me.
That's fair. I'll give you that one. Your notes aren't ready for Kenobi, right? We'll save it.
Allegedly. Now, at least.
I don't know why they started on a Friday with the double premiere. So weird. Anyway, I think that's everything we had to get to in this 1/2 week podcast. So it's fun. Sometimes it goes like that, people. Deal with it. I guess for Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Major.
And we're going to catch you on the flip side, y'all. All right, well, that's all we could talk about for now until we get into Kenobi.
Right.
I go by Ben now. How do you feel about that?
It's accurate.
It's accurate? Did he go by Ben in the original?
Yeah, in the originals. It was Ben.
Nice to see that that switch up.
He kept it a secret from Luke.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Man, this timeline is all over the place.
I
gotta catch up, or I guess re-catch up. Anyway, it's not goodbye because we'll be back soon.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll end it there.
Yep.
All right, I'm on a roll. We'll get to the Johnny Depp stuff first. So, Big Apple, I got some news for you. You gonna go to your room? You're good. We'll wait. You ready to edit this tomorrow, or whenever we're done filming? Why? All right, cool.
Why do you say that into the mic?
For emphasis. What's wrong with that, Big Apple? What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
You're goofy, Big A.
It's just like that conversation is not part of the podcast.
I just wanted you to be included, Big A. What's wrong with that?
I mean, I could hear it.
Did you hear the emphasis?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're done. I can't even take you seriously right now. Okay. Serious mode. Okay, so Big Apple, as you and everyone who has an internet connection knows, Johnny Depp